Hi folks, and welcome to the HorrorMaker podcast. My name's Pat Higgins, and I've been spending the last sort of 10 years, or Christ, it's more than that now, last long period of time, kind of swimming in the shallows of the independent horror world. I've made a bunch of kind of straight-to-DVD movies, collaborated with some other fantastic filmmakers along the way, and more recently I've been kind of specialising a lot in screenwriting. But what we're going to do over the next few episodes of this podcast is talk to various other people involved in independent horror filmmaking. Everybody out there who's ever sort of dipped their toes into this field has got tales to tell. Sometimes these tales are incredibly inspiring, sometimes they're horrifying in terms of how much you can potentially lose. But they're always interesting, and that's really what we're after on HorrorMaker. We've been incredibly lucky on this first podcast to have joining us as a guest the incredible Marc Price. If you've never checked out any of his staff movies like Colin and Magpie, you need to do so because we're very, very lucky to have him as a guest. The subject of this first podcast was intended to be a discussion of the spark, that first moment when an idea takes form in your head, and what it takes to yank it out of that state and turn it into something more tangible, turn it into a movie that people can go and watch, something that sprays blood up the walls and all that sort of brilliant good stuff that we love the genre for. In the course of the conversation with Marc, we kind of stray off and we go into all kinds of different directions, but I really, really hope you enjoy it, and that you will go and check out his stuff as soon as you finish listening to it. Okay, I'd like to welcome to HorrorMaker the wonderful Marc Price, who first came onto the scene a few years back now. What year was Colin?
I think it was out on, I think we released it in 2009.
2009. Fantastic. Colin, if you haven't come across it so far, Colin was a very remarkable zombie movie made for very, very little money indeed. I was blown away by it first time I saw it. I first saw it, actually, I was lucky enough to see it in a very small screening above a pub. Then the next time I saw it was in the London West End. So that I thought that kind of marked the trajectory of that movie. It was a remarkable zombie movie made for almost no money whatsoever. From that point, Marc's second movie was Magpie, which is, again, an extraordinary change of mood. A drama with extremely dark subject matter, but a kind of very, very character-focused, very unexpected drama, and again, not something that someone would expect as a second movie from someone best known for making an incredibly low-budget zombie movie. But I would like to very much welcome you onto the HorrorMaker podcast, Marc. Good to have you.
Thanks, man. That was a really lovely intro. It's making me panic a bit. It's like, oh shit, have I done anything? Should have done something else. I can sit here and list all the remarkable stuff you've done, but there's other. Obviously, I've seen sort of elements of other projects that you've been working on over the years. I think you've done a lot of work with students as well. Am I right? Kind of breeding up the next generation and getting them up to speed. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with the BFI and their education department, and then other sort of little education organisations. And I often try to bring the young people on board in key roles, not just as runners, and to pay them as much as we can as well. So there are a lot of opportunities that I didn't have coming from Swansea, right. And so it's sort of like in a strange way, I see it as a really interesting way of getting a perfectly trained team of people who understand the crazy way that you work, and just bringing them on board. It's kind of the depressing thing is, at first they look at you with this amazing reverence and you feel, oh wow, I'm a real filmmaker, this is amazing. And then after they work with you for a while, they just don't give a shit. They stop taking pictures on set. They don't tweet that they're working with you, and then you look at other filmmakers they work with, they're like, who the fuck's this guy? It's like it's like they're cheating on you or something. But hey, it's a small price to pay. It's fine.
I've kind of found that any time I've sort of spoken to students or given lectures about stuff, I realise that because technology as well moves on so quickly, that nothing will destroy the mystique of the independent filmmaker quicker than an on-set photo, where they'll kind of go, oh wow, this guy's made films that have got released and they've come out. But you don't even get the DVD thing anymore. They're not impressed by that anymore, because nowadays it's, well, what's DVD? Oh, I think my dad uses that format, So that's not impressive anymore. And then they see an on-set photo of you
you go, what's this piece of shit camera this guy's using? Just because it's something from like 10 years ago. It's like, hey, that was state of the art.
Well, you saw
it no longer has...
the commercial we did last week, like every photo someone took of me on set, I look so baffled, I look so confused. I'm not a good photo person. My posture is really bad because I'm hunched over something that's not in shot, so no one can see. And I'm just like, wow, Jesus, I feel like I'm kind of cool making a movie. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm being loud and excited and enthusiastic. I see the pictures, like, fucking hell, I look just so confused. It's like, is that what I really look like? Oh my god! I thought I commanded like this, pictures of like a good war general or something. Just I'd follow that guy into flames. Nah, I'm just like looking really awkward and around a lot of people who seem to look like they know what they're doing. So it's very, very odd.
I think that look, be it as a director, be it as a producer, to be able to keep that, to keep that feeling of, oh Christ, I'm out of my depth here, to be able to just push that down is possibly the greatest skill anyone could have on a low budget film set.
Do you know what's messed up though? Is I never feel like that. I like this. This is the one part of a film where I feel so comfortable because I'm surrounded by other creative people. So if I'm stuck with anything, I could turn around and there's a runner there who's an aspiring filmmaker and say, well, what do you think? And I'll have an idea, and whether I accept that idea or not, it'll at least get us pointed in the right direction in some way. So I've never feel like the photos represent in these things. It's a very odd experience. I think that's why I've taken to wearing hats now. I finally realise a lot of directors wear hats just to hide as much of you as possible. Yeah, so whenever there's a picture taken, it's literally just like my eyes.
I rock the baseball cap only on film sets, only on if I'm directing as well. If they're on set in any other capacity, I will not wear a baseball cap. If I'm any other area of my life, I will not wear a baseball cap. But I have these couple of battered baseball caps. They're kind of expected, aren't they? And as you say, it does shield. You can pull it down over your face, and yeah, it's my movie set uniform.
Yeah, I mean, I don't obsess over myself, so the first time I discovered that I had a bald spot was from a fucking set photo. I was just like, Jesus Christ, it's not shit enough to look at a picture of myself. It turns out that I'm losing my hair. No, thanks for telling me. So yeah, it's just this it's not my thing. It's not my jam having a picture taken of me. I got a face like a fucking potato. I can't even wear hats properly. It's a travesty. So, vanity.
But what a way to find out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, theoretically, this episode of HorrorMaker, sorry, we're talking. I'm getting the name of the podcast wrong. That's great. But in this episode of HorrorMaker, we're really focusing on the start, on what we've called the spark. The initial kind of moment. I'm kind of fascinated by the fact that I've banged on about selective perception quite a bit in quite a few kind of places, that there's too much information in this world and we're bombarded by too much, that we walk down the street and our body can't even process, the fact that we're walking across different surfaces, that we've got different noises, different lights, different whatever. We've got all this external stuff and we're always kind of editing it. We're going through this process of chop, 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 so that our consciousness gets like, hey Mark, be aware of that car coming towards you, or, hey Pat, you're about to step in dog shit, or whatever it is. So it's only these big messages that kind of come through. And I think that the creative process, I'm fascinated by the parallel of that information overload that happens just through all our external stuff with ideas, with how an idea breaks through that babble of them. Because I don't know, I find it really fascinating speaking to other, as you say, other creative people and because that babble for me gets fucking deafening sometimes. I will go, oh, and I could do this, or I could do that, or I could make a film about that, or I could do it, and it's like a constant internal thing. And I'm fascinated by the point where one of those things went, I could make a zombie movie for almost no money, and that was the one that you grabbed, and that was the one that you went for. People get asked where do your ideas come from, and I think a far better idea is how can you pull one out of the stew. So how is it for you?
I think that, funny enough, with Colin, it was a weird one because I'd already shot something that I thought was going to be a really strong sort of first feature. And I'd not long moved to London at that point, and there were some actors I knew and I thought were absolutely incredible. Some of them ended up in Colin, actually. And and I just screwed it up. I mean, I think I shot it, it was okay. I was editing it, and I think as I realised cutting it together, there was a time pressure because one of the actors I was using, her green card was running out, and she had to go back to Canada. So there was a lot in there. So I shot this film. I really laboured over trying to get a decent cut of it, and I just couldn't nail it. and I was sort of drunkenly watching movies with friends, which is what we do a lot because at the time we were quite broke. And we started watching, like, I think one night we watched Dawn of the Dead. I got the... I think we got a rare cut of Dawn of the Dead, and we decided to watch that. And I woke up the next morning and thought, oh, what about a whole movie from the point of view of the zombie? And everyone was asleep. I had to run around, sort of like trying to wake them up. No one gave a shit. Everyone's hungover. And I was like, look, I want to do this movie. It's going to be about a zombie, all from a zombie's point of view. And they said, yeah, that sounds like a great short. I was like, no, we're going to do it as a feature. And what we do is we don't have to worry about the sound because I can just knock the sound down, treat it like an animation, just build every sound up in layers in post. So we'll just make a completely visual movie, and that'll be that, and we'll see what we end up with. And I don't think anyone trusted that it would carry for a feature, but I had enough story to tell that I felt it would. And so yes, we sort of started shooting it really, and the story sort of developed from there. It's where I sort of started meeting the cast that I wanted to work with, because I was looking for someone to play Alistair Curtin's sister in the film, and someone recommended sort of Daisy Aikens, who I sort of remember going, oh, okay, she looks like she could be related to him, I guess. She had dark hair in a headshot, and I went, okay, fine. So, and when I met her, she was blonde, and I went, oh, shit, that's not going to work. How does hair work? Can you have a blonde and a dark haired brother? I don't know enough about this. So, you know, it was before a time where I realized I could Google literally everything. Actually, that's not true. I was Googling loads of stuff before to try and make myself sound smart once. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't fucking look into it, and I just went, okay, fine. But as I was talking to her about stuff, I thought, okay, let's just be polite, and I'll find something for her to do. It's a zombie movie, but I'll have the meeting. We'll see how it goes. I got on with her so well. I thought, you know what, fuck it, it'll be great. Be her sister. It's going to be great, and she was excellent. And then Daisy ended up being the main character in Magpie. Right. And Alistair obviously was Colin. He was also in Magpie, but he's playing like a fourth tier character. And I just kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. When we sort of did Colin, it was really like, you know, I'm free today, are you free today, let's go do something. And we had a sort of block of about 3 weeks where we shot things quite intensely. Then after that, it was just little bits here and there. And that's where I started shaping the movie and the edit. And it was nice just to have that time to say, oh, do you know what would be great if we did this? And then we would go and shoot a small scene, and, if it worked, it was in. And I think for a while, I think you and the few people who saw the version of the film that I was really comfortable with to start, which is I think about 115 minutes. It was quite a lot in there. Yeah. And then I sort of thought, you know what, I don't need the film to. I just kind of want to get to the next bit, the next bit. I didn't. Perhaps watching the film in a room where I put black bags on the windows that started absorbing the heat on the hottest day of the year. Might have caused.
God, I forgot that. It really was. Yeah.
It was horrific. You're sitting there going, you work so hard to get the visuals just right, and you find you kind of can't even get there with the projection system we used. And then, of course, what I did to try and get close was just stuff everyone in a heat box. Poor fucking people. And some people feel that the 97-minute version of the film is too long, and it's like 115 minutes. I really hope people brought, I know him, so it's less boring to the screening. But
it was remarkable for me because obviously that was I think the first time I'd ever met you. We'd spoken online. We talked about because I made Trash House like the year before, something like that. And so we sort of chatted in the run up to it, but I wasn't. It sounds awful to say I wasn't expecting it to be good, but I wasn't you don't. You wouldn't know. It's... and I certainly wasn't expecting it to be that emotional. And I mean, in the long form as well. I it felt like a kind of gut punch, and it was like, to me, it was like, oh my god, there is actually a guiding emotional intelligence to this movie above and beyond what normally you see people even reaching for on a low budget movie, on a micro budget movie, let alone actually achieving. So it was remarkable for me. But I had forgotten how hot that room was, and now you said it. Yeah, I remember.
Well, it's one of those things. I think with the emotional core, that's always the most important thing for me in the films I make, because I do think that just because a film is a genre movie doesn't mean it can't be personal or emotional. I get incredibly emotional watching genre films and the Hollywood blockbusters I grew up with. And I think that I wanted to sort of have some of that, because I think that's the thing that resonates and lasts. King Kong, the Willis O'Brien stop motion animation. I mean, that is a dated visual effect. As beautiful as it still is to me, it's a dated visual effect. The reason that film resonates is because of the emotional core. And so if you've got your emotional core set, it doesn't matter how ugly your cameras are. It doesn't matter how shoddy your editing might have been at the time, or camera work. The emotional core of the story is always there. And even though sort of filmmaking styles and techniques develop and evolve so much since I made that film still, and technologies, the emotional core is still there. So it's a film that people should sort of be able to watch and get something of on a sort of basic emotional level, is the idea. So that's kind of how I try to sort of approach everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that crossed my mind earlier, you were saying about how Colin very much came together organically. That you were sort of saying, well, we can try this and we can try that, and that you'd started shooting without necessarily a locked down screenplay. Is that right? Or that's sort of the impression I kind of got from what you were saying earlier.
I think that there was a script, and it was odd actually looking at that script so long after shooting, that we were able to see how much of the scenes were in there, and I was able to go, oh wow, we kind of did this. Because I just have this habit of throwing the script away once I'm on a set and just sort of seeing what we can create. But no, there was a script, but I think I would also always embrace the ideas that would come. So any ideas that Alistair would bring on the day, or Daisy or Tat, or Lee Crocombe or Damien Largy, the guys I was living with, who I sort of strong-armed into helping out. Like there'd always be some great ideas, and I just embraced those really. So the script was there, the structure was absolutely 100% nailed, but everything else allowed for us to sort of play a little bit more. And because we shoot so fast, we were able to do that. So
was that still the case with Magpie as well? Was Magpie feels more formal, I suppose, to some degree? Or did you still embrace that ongoing change from your intentions when you had the script?
Well, funny enough, Magpie was all that, because I didn't write a script for Magpie. It was literally just the structure I had. I said, well, we need to get here from there to there, from there to there, and then halfway through, we shot for a week before Christmas, and then a week after Christmas. Then we did a couple of pickups then later on that year. And what I felt with that one, I still changed things. I said, right, I've got this character doing this, but from what we've shot, I think it now should be this character doing this instead. Yeah. So there was lots of sort of changes. And all we'd do is we'd approach each day and say, right, this is what we need to achieve in this scene. Let's look at the best way to achieve it. And I'd say, my instincts say we should start with this. And then the actors would say, well, what if we did this? And we would talk through the scenes for about an hour. Then we'd just get out there and shoot it. It was a slower process of shooting for me. We'd get through like 2 scenes a day instead of... but they'd be complete scenes. And that's kind of how we did the film. And it worked really nicely in that sense, because I was able... Magpie came with a frustration. I had a script for another film that I was trying to get financed, and we couldn't get this small amount of money to get it made. And then
Despite the success of Colin.
Yeah. Well, and I can understand why, I suppose, because Colin's this grotty little bedroom movie. There's nothing in there that proves that I could make anything that looks pretty. So even though that was exactly where I wanted to go, and kind of where we took Magpie to the degree I could with the cameras we had at the time. But I think that when it came to, I couldn't get this script financed. And I was given a script and I was starting to think, I'm probably a shit writer, I suppose, and I'm out in the world now, and people are able to say, hey, this isn't what an expert writer writes like. And then I was sent a script, and it was terrible. It had a couple of million attached to it. My agent sent it to me, and I just went, this is fucking terrible. I said, I'll do this if I can do a rewrite, but I'm going to want to get rid of all this crap. and naturally I didn't get the job, but I thought, you know what, fuck, I'm not spending another few months writing a script. Let's just fucking make a movie, because we can make a movie tomorrow. I can always make a movie tomorrow. It's but it's, you know, my current feelings is that we're at a point where I think we've proved that we can make a movie tomorrow. I think we deserve to have a budget to pay everyone. But on this one, we thought, well, look, let's just do this and see what we can do. And we did it. We did it with Magpie, and it was this, you know, this small little movie that, you know, is on Amazon Prime now. It's but that's it. That's how we got that little movie made.
I was going to say, actually, Magpie again was a movie. Excuse me. Magpie was a movie that I thought was incredibly emotionally engaging, which again is something that often I think micro-budget movies or some indies kind of overlook, or they approach it in a very, very earnest way where that's kind of what it's. It almost feels, obviously, the emotion feels earned from the situations. That's something that strikes me about your movies. When I saw an early screening of Magpie, I sort of thought, wow, man, this is going to be the movie that's, you know, people will talk about this, and this will tip Mark to another new kind of level. And I must admit, it up until it going through on Amazon Prime, it felt a little bit to me like a bit of a lost movie, just in terms of I don't feel it got the distribution it deserved.
Oh yeah, I mean it's you know, kind of almost the polar opposite to Colin, where this little movie got, you know, all this little attention, all this huge attention, and then, you know, Magpie was like a smaller movie, didn't really get any at all. But you know, it's I think it's good to taste most of those things. I think Magpie is sort of in a weird way a stronger movie than Colin. I'm happier with it, but you know, it doesn't have any recognizable names in it. It's a drama, not a genre film. Those are hard sells for a distributor, and so although we got it distributed in the US, and that was lovely. We had a little theatrical run. I got to go and do this little mini tour and do some Q&As for it and stuff. In the UK, it's sort of like we didn't really get much at all, and so, you know, there's a business quality to it that I was reluctant to accept at the time, but. You know, in a strange way, I think if I would have maybe looked at it a little bit more smarter, I think in terms of business, maybe got someone in for a small part or something, that might have helped. And, you know, I don't think the film would be as lost, at least be out there. I mean, you know, what I'll try and do, my plan B, is I'll try and get a career, and then, you know, people will be interested in the back catalogue, and then they can go back and check it out, right?
That's it. That's the way. But now we have Amazon Prime, which, you know, I mean, I've been getting our stuff out on there as well. How have you found that as an experience? I mean, to me, it has been a bit of a game changer, and it means that our back catalogue are bringing in some money every month, which is, you know, for some of them where they were signed off on DVD deals where perhaps we weren't getting the money off them, you know, being able to get movies, get them up on Amazon Prime is changing stuff for us. How's it working out for you?
Well, it sounds great. I mean, Justin was telling us the amount of minutes that we'd had viewed, and I was like, holy shit, man, there's a lot of people who's watched the movie. And then he went, no, Justin Hale is my producing partner, who co-owns Nowhere Fast Than Me, and he said, yeah, these are the amount of minutes people have spent watching it. That's how it logs, right? That's how Amazon Prime logs. And I went, that's a lot of people watching the movie. He goes, or it's quadruple the amount of people watching the first 10 minutes, realising it's shit and turning it off. I went, is it? And he went, I don't know, there's no way to tell. And I went, well, let's assume it's fewer people watching the whole thing, huh? And he went, well, yeah, why not? Okay, let's be optimistic. And I thought, okay, fine. But yeah, it's a oh man, I've enjoyed that experience. It's been nice to see that it's, you know, but it's out there as well now. People are rating it, and it's, you know, not that ever counts for anything, but it's sort of, you know, we're at that nice phase where people are, you know, our higher ratings are there. Before, I guess, more people watch it and it just takes a plummet.
Well, I found a lot of my very, very favourite horror movies, mainstream releases over the last few years, end up with a very middling rank on the IMDb because a lot of people give them 10 out of 10 and a lot of people give them 1s.
Yeah, they got a mad algorithm.
Indie Fair as well. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that does translate to indie movies as well. I think people who approach it knowing that they're going to watch a low-budget movie and hoping to get something out of that process, look at something and they go, wow, this over-delivered on what I was expecting because it had a decent script or it had whatever. But other people turn it on expecting The Conjuring 2 and kind of go, whoa, this isn't what I expected at all. This is tiny micro budget and it's under-delivering what I was expecting. And so I think that they end up at those polar opposites of the rating scale to like a 10 out of 10 or 1 out of 10, and so the whole thing makes everything look like it's mediocre.
Yeah, like a horror, like let's just take horror as a genre. The horror audiences in themselves they're not an audience, they're an extremely diverse audience. Some people only want to watch schlock, some people want to watch something that really makes you think, some people are happy with that balance of the two. Very few of them are all three of those things. And very, very few, which is why I think it sort of struggles sometimes. That's why a film like Get Out is such a rare gem that everyone seems to like it. You know, everyone seems to really like it. Which I saw it recently, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I saw it last week, actually.
It's one of those, you know, that doesn't happen very often. It almost feels a bit like a Rosemary's Baby for these times. You know, I wouldn't even say for my generation. I wonder if my generation has a Rosemary's Baby. But this feels like one of those ones that's going to really stand the test of time and be a lovely time capsule of where we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think that it's you know, like I made a moody zombie movie, which wasn't emo enough to be loved by emo people, and it was too ugly to be loved by people who can appreciate a strong visual. So it wasn't a goofy, stupid zombie movie. It was taking the genre seriously and trying to do something that showed respect. That's very divisive, man. You know, if our film was only known in the horror community, I think we would have done like average in terms of like, you know, people liking it. The fact that it got out there into the whole wide world where people didn't get Blair Witch Project, for fuck's sake. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I said, I'm fucking doomed. Like, this is terrifying. This isn't quite, it's nice, but I'm not entirely sure this is the best thing for the film. But we got lucky. I mean, I think when it first came out, when the story came out that we made it for hardly any money, that was one thing. And then the second wave of press we got was that people had watched it and were like, oh, hang on, this is all right. So we started getting like nice reviews and distribution. So yeah, but it's an odd thing, isn't it? Getting your babies out there. It's a very strange experience. Yeah. Nothing compares to it. It's you know, you're a parent, right? I've always felt there's a comparison. I'm not a parent, so I don't know, but I assume there's that, like when they're teenagers and they go out drinking. I know you're not at that phase as a parent yet.
I'm not that there yet.
But I feel this is what it's going to be like. They're out and people, oh God, people think my kid's a cunt. This is fucked up. So these are the things that would terrify me as a parent. Like, what terrible things does my kid do? Have I done a good job? Have I primed the little prick for the outside world? Who knows?
For everybody who's coming on the show, we've been asking them to pimp a movie that they love that's not one of theirs, particularly an indie movie, something small that maybe the listeners haven't heard of, or just something that you dig for whatever reason, or if you've got a couple or you got whatever. So go for it, man. What you got?
Well, the ones that right, I tell you what I really like. One of the ones I want to talk about. It's odd because although I worked on it, I didn't really I didn't direct it. I didn't write it. I didn't have anything to do with it. It was a film that was offered to me to direct, and then I encouraged the filmmaker to direct it. And I said, look, if you need anyone just to hang out and you know and be there in case you need any help, I'll come to set. And they went, yeah, okay. And as it goes, I didn't do anything. I literally just ate food. And I was in it as well briefly. I kicked a door in as a zombie, as a slathering zombie, and that's it. And it's a film directed by Dominic Brunt, written by his wife Joanne Mitchell and a gentleman called Mark Ellis, and it was called Before Dawn. And it was a zombie movie, and basically Dom and Joe had financed Magpie. They sort of said, you know, when I helped finance the film, I couldn't get the script I had that I couldn't get financed. And they said, oh, we'd like to, you know, we've got this much money that we annually put into films and we'd like to help. And it wasn't the budget we'd need, but it would have helped a bit of pre-production things. And I just sort of said, look, you know what, if this film doesn't get made, this money's just going to disappear. Can I make another film out of it? And they said, yeah, we just want to contribute this, do what you want. And so we made Magpie. And they asked, to do Before Dawn. And I remember thinking, shit, I probably have to, because they put all that money into this film. I was like, and I was listening to them talking about it, and I kind of thought, oh, it would be fun to direct this, but I kind of think, like, there's a vision here that these guys have.
Yeah.
That I think it's not that difficult to get if they're around the right people. So I kind of encouraged them to do it themselves, and they did. And my God, it was a better film I think I could have made. I've seen it a few times. It's a really... Again, it's one of those sort of zombie films that's more about something else than it is about the zombie apocalypse. It's about, a couple breaking up, really.
Right.
They're trying to save their marriage. And we never know what it is that's going on, but their kids are away. And we know that their kids are in the midst of this apocalypse in a city whilst these guys are in the country. And it's just a two-hander, but it's fantastic. I really like it. I highly recommend it.
Is that widely available? Is it one we can pick up on DVD? Is it Amazon Prime? Is it?
I believe it's on Amazon Prime. It's also it's on DVD. It's been on DVD for a while. I think
cool.
I think Metrodome released it.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Even though they don't exist anymore, I think obviously they've still got some films that are out there.
Yeah.
I think there are going to be a couple of copies kicking around. I think I'm not sure what Metrodome did actually when they folded, whether they sold their back catalogue onto other companies. They tend to, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's just a case of whether whoever picks up decides which films to actually package and release. But I highly recommend it. It's easy. It's got to be findable in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
People who are into obscure horror films have their methods, and I'm sure Dom and Joe would just appreciate people watching it instead. But I don't know. I could text them and ask and say, I'm on a podcast right now pitching people to watch your film, and I'm saying, like, just download it, or if you can't find it, download it. I mean, whatever method you see fit, I'm not your boss. This is a great film. Watch it. Give it a really good rating on IMDb. There we go. That's contributing, right?
Yeah.
Not the user ratings, like, fuck those, really, right? I've never had much respect for them. I think IMDb would be a great website if it wasn't for the fucking people rating films who have no clue.
Well, I'm glad they've got rid of all the comments as well, haven't they? Which I'm kind of glad about, because that was horrible. It was really grim.
Yeah, I didn't realise the amount of fucking bollocks and stupidity when people can't spell the word "if" for fuck's sake. You're like, should their star rating count? Like, not to get all, like, only certain people are worth... Yeah, I don't want to be like, only certain people are worth talking about films, because that's kind of bad. That's pointing humanity in the wrong direction. But when it comes to this, yeah, totally. Fuck them. No, it's, I don't know. It's funny, though. I mean, I get a large amount of entertainment out of reading shit like that, because I don't take it seriously. It's like, what's that? Do you ever see Bug? The Adam Buxton show.
Yeah.
He just reads YouTube comments. So like, holy shit, someone made a show out of my favorite pastime. Which is just reading badly spelt YouTube comments. I was like, this is great. This is fantastic.
So with the just taking us back to this idea at the beginning, how out of all of those sparks in your head, and one of which led to Colin, one of which led to Magpie, how many there are buzzing in the front of your brain at the moment? Are you cherry picking, like, out of a myriad of wonderful projects that you just can't decide which one comes next, or where's your brain at?
Well, I'm kind of curious. I like whether you have this as well. There's sometimes so much, and I need someone to say, you got to do this one, and it's almost like it's like claustrophobic, just thinking about which one I need to get done. And I settled down to start writing one recently, and because I've already got a script now that's with someone, the feeling of, fuck, this is such a huge step to towards getting paid. that script is with someone now, and you know, they sound like they want to make it, which is cool. So I want another one. I want to have like 3 or 4 of them, so I can say, right, I got 3 or 4 scripts here.
So they line up like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, so like whichever one of these someone wants to go with, I can go back to it and see where I've got. So it's finding the one to write, and that's incredibly, that I find very stressful. I feel like I'm never where I need to be, and then when I sit down to start writing, I kind of find that it's I'll jot something down and I'll go, oh Jesus Christ, I'm not in any fit state to write this. But you know, what I've tried to do is just to push through, and I find stuff as I'm writing. I love writing action scenes. I really enjoy writing that stuff. So I keep sort of pushing through. And when I get that words on paper draft, I think, was that the thing that Sid Field called it? Like, you call it a words on paper draft.
Yeah.
It doesn't count. It's getting it down. Then you go back, you tidy that up, and then you go to first draft. The one the one you're ready to show people is the first draft.
Jason Arnold calls it draft 0, and that's always stuck with me. Yeah, the one where it's just like, and yeah, but it exists, and that's all it has to do. It has to exist. It doesn't have to not suck. It just has to exist, and it's the later draft's job to not suck.
Yeah, it's. I was sort of like my process with that is I tend to I really involve friends. I'm always talking to them about ideas, and these are people I sometimes cast. These are sometimes people I bring on board. I mean, I got a meeting this afternoon with someone because yesterday I sort of sent a text to one of the actors I want to cast in it, and a guy I enjoy writing with, and I said, look, fuck, I've got these characters, I got this scenario, I ain't got a story, and I said, you know, I've got a series of sort of sequences, and I know how to get there, but I don't have, like, what do they do after this one? I've written 15 to 20 pages, and now I don't know what the fuck to do for the other 50. I'm stuck, and I said, I've already got a plan. The action scenes are going to be a lot longer. So, I only have to worry about 45 pages. So, it's a bit of a stressy one, but because again with this, I've got people who are waiting to, you know, I mean, I want to Mike Lee it. I want to just workshop it, get a little bit of money together, get people together. So, all right, these are the scenarios. Let's see what we can do, because I know I can do that. We did it on Magpie. I know it could work, but people don't want to chuck in for that. Not even a small amount of money. So I've got to get a script of some sort for people to not read and then decide they want to finance. So I'm sure that's what happens a lot of times. People just can't be bothered to read the script. Like, I mean, we sent her a really nice treat, pitch package, and someone mentioned something in it that is very complimentary of me, that another filmmaker said. And I went, oh, okay. And they just looked amazed. And I went, it's in there? And they went, where? And I went, it's in my bio page. It's like 2 paragraphs. And they went, yeah. I went, oh. And I was like, and that's when you come away going, shit, you know what we want to do? We might want to sort of put that in big red letters above my head so that it looks sexier. Because it's something that was underlined and they got really excited about. I was like, okay, maybe we're going about this a little bit wrong. You can never tell. I have no idea. But definitely a script. You know, they always want a script. So I'm like, okay, it's this minimum requirement. I can smash something down. I'm not above putting things saying this is a first draft script. You know, this needs to be better. We need to achieve this and this. And just see where we go. And it's... I just want to make a movie, Pat. I always want to make movies.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. Thank you so much, man. We're actually kind of out of time now. It's been magnificent having you on HorrorMaker, and we look forward to more horror. Let's just, as a final rundown, let's just let people know where everything that you've got that they can see now, or read, or go and do, or anything. Go, plug stuff.
Yes. Okay. So Colin, I think you can get that on DVD in the UK. But, you know, don't be afraid to download it because the distributors don't give me any money anyway. So go crazy. The Magpie is on Amazon Prime, where if you don't even have Amazon Prime, I think you can buy it from Amazon as well or rent it. I'm not sure the prices there, but I think they're reasonable.
They are.
Or if you can find it to download, I don't think you can. It's not that popular yet. See, there's some optimism there. Download it, go crazy. We just want people to watch it. And that's about it. We'll try and make more stuff. I've been doing a lot of stuff in development for television, which is amazing because you can pay the bills and you can live in London, but no one sees stuff. And what you come to realize is, holy fuck, it's been 5 years. I haven't made anything. People are gonna think, oh, you bum, and it's like it's a scary place to be.
No, I get the same thing. I do some script stuff and do like script doctory stuff and things like that. And then you kind of go, oh, that's nice. And as you say, it pays bills and, you know, it's doing what you love and all that sort of thing. But then you realise how long it is since your last official credit, because a lot of this stuff's uncredited and you just sort of think, this is just, I'm starting to look bad now.
Well, you know, the commercial we did a couple of weeks ago, right? Because Pat was a zombie in a thing.
I enjoyed it.
Was so much fun. Like, that was, I think, the first thing I'd got to direct in about, I think it was quite a... No, I'd done a couple other little small commercial things, but that was I was really enthusiastic about that one, and that was great. And it was a bunch of people I was friends with, and it was, that to me was great. And I had the best day directing then. I got a lot out of my system there. And we got a lot of really fun shots.
You had the megaphone, man. I mean, and that's the dream, isn't it? To have a megaphone. And people to warrant it, which that, you know, obviously Zombie Street, you had a lot of people there. So.
Do you know what? It worked for about, when we actually got into where we needed it, where there was a lot of distance in that car park. I tried using it, it wouldn't work. I had to shout for the rest of the day. So it's just like, it's okay. I can do this. And trying to, because I get very Welsh when I shout. And also trying not to sound too aggressive. But there's a speeding car driving around. I want to make sure no one's in the wrong place. So I'm like, you have been warned. There's a car coming. Hide. Hide now. Is everybody safe? Yes. Okay. Action. Crossing my fingers that nothing goes wrong. So it's good. It's good fun. I really enjoyed it. You get a lot of your system, I think. And that's kind of where most of the work is at the moment. But... but it's always, you know, I'm always up for taking the pay cut and making a movie every single time. Always the preference.
We will always be up for watching them, man, because your stuff is amazing. So thanks once again so much for having this chat with us.
Cheers, Pat. Thanks, man.
Cheers, Mark. Awesome.
Bye.